So this might be a little outdated because lo and behold, like I predicted, this was only in style for a good 2 weeks before fading into the void of obscurity, just like some of the other short-lived fashion fads we've seen. But this little experiment here from MSCH, Mischief? I think that's how you say it, right? This really cemented to me the fact that this fashion shit has really become less and less about stylish and aesthetic designs, but more about shock value and experimenting with the balance of what clothing and what people will actually wear. It's kind of like the weirder the designs, the more fashion forward this shit kind of becomes. And it's not even weird in a sort of interesting context like I love to see that in innovation, right? But I'm talking weird enough to the point where it actually becomes funny. Like you sitting here thinking like, damn, these niggas really put this shit out. And I know what you're thinking. The first thing that comes to everyone's mind when we speak on weird fashion, right, has to be Balenciaga, right? I know these guys have been on a mission to pull out the goofiest shit and charge the highest prices they can, especially since Demna took the creative helm. But we can kind of see this whole sentiment across the whole fashion space as a whole, especially with couture fashion, right? Which is sort of like unique dressmaking and garment production and avant-garde styling as well, which I kind of like to describe as like contrarian fashion, right? We can kind of see these things growing bigger and bigger in runway spaces and much more common within the fashion community. I remember back in the day when wearing Rick's meant you were a little bit on the weird side, right?
I farted in Rick Owens' face. It's like, nah, y'all, come with me to the Rick Owens store in Milan.
But now with the general growth of fashion and the space we're moving into, if you're cool wearing something like this, niggas will just chuckle and say, ah, that's another fashion motherfucker. Hell, if you're even cool on the gram wearing something like this, you might even get a few fire emojis and a few real comments in your pictures. Cloud chasing in fashion is at an all-time high. I swear, it has to be tiring at this point, constantly hopping on trends and hype to maintain this illusion of drip to the public. The obsession with designer clothing, brands, and hype is at its highest even now. Like, come on, how are half these 20-something-year-olds dripped head to toe in Gucci and Vetements? Come on, I never see any of these motherfuckers posting their houses, their cars, their stock portfolios. Like, come on, the cap is insane on social media. People really think they're doing better than you in life just because of the clothes they wear. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're pulling off these fits and you got some photos posted up of your crib, your Bugatti, like, oh sheesh, my man, that's some good cap, and I can't say anything to you otherwise, right? But for the rest of you fashion motherfuckers, please get your priorities straight and build an asset portfolio, please. Back to the fashion shit anyway. You guys know how we kind of look back on older trends that have faded from the ages and we all kind of cringe and humor the fact that people actually kind of wore this stuff? I feel like our generation is prime meme material because next to ironic fashion, the cartoon wear, the cosplay, we've had a ride for the last 5 years, right? We also have the luxury of the internet essentially archiving all of this. So even if there was enormously much more goofier shit back in the older days, no one had their iPhone 14s ready to snap a pic of you ready for everyone to see. I guess really what I'm trying to say is that a lot of this new age anti-fashion sort of shit is showing me that a lot of this fashion stuff shouldn't really be sweated about or taken too seriously. Outside of understanding the core fundamentals about proportions, color theory, and developing your own general taste in the things you like, right? It doesn't take too much effort to really get a good fit and really start looking good day in and day out. But as much as this video might come off like I'm a hating ass nigga, right? Which I am, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not necessarily saying fashion is worse right now. I just find it interesting to acknowledge what these designers can get away with now. I'm all for this shit, and I think it makes such a much more interesting world, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a funny time we live in, and I think we should sort of appreciate the creative freedom a lot of these designers have now, pushing the bounds and concepts of clothing and kind of letting us react to it. Like, controversy sells.